कृष्ण भगवान की जय। दशकम 39. Yeah. So Dashakam 39, if you see Krishna Avataram is done. Next is Krishna Janmotsavam. Now that Krishna is born, Krishna Janmotsavam is needed. It has to be celebrated, and also Yogamaya, goddess, was born. Now, how Krishna Janmotsavam? Now, before we delve deeper into the Dashakam, how Krishna Janmotsavam was celebrated by Nanda and Yashoda. Now, first of all, a child was born in the house of Nanda Gopa after 60 years, 6060. Now, how come at the age of 60 they could beget children? It is Dwapar Yugam, not Kali Yugam. Okay, lifespan is different, everything is different. And that too, a girl child was born. Goddess herself had manifested in their house. And later they came to know it's not a goddess, it's a lord himself. That is, a boy child had been born. Entire Gokulam was given Godanam, it seems. Godanam, this, that. Godanam, cows. So Nanda Gopa was so happy, entire Gokula came in. Food was offered, Godanam, this, that, whatever he could, the way they could celebrate, everything was done in a large scale. So this was how Krishna Janmotsavam was celebrated. And it seems that people from entire Gokula, they used to come, and as if it is their own child, like if there is a house or so, as if my own child has been born, they used to celebrate that way, it seems. So that was the amount of love which the people of Gokula had, and this was how Krishna Janmotsavam was celebrated. Now let's see how Bhattatri highlights. Bhavantama Yamodvahan. It seems that now here it's a continuation of Krishna Avataram. So in Krishna Avataram, Dashakam 38, we saw Vasudeva was carrying the Lord over river Yamuna and coming over. So while that was happening, it seems that the water that was there, the water of the Yamuna, it reduced to his ankle length. So that is Prapedame Yatam, Prapadame Yatam Ayatao. Prapada, pada, feet, Prapada. When we say till his ankles, it is normally how we wash our feet also. So only till that length water was there. The water of the Yamuna also reduced, giving way to Vasudeva carrying the leader of the Yadus. Yadukulo Yadukula Udvaha, leader of the Yadus. And it was as if Kalindi Atmaja, Kalinda's daughter Yamuna, she gave way to the Lord, and all this seemed like magic, it seems. How can such a huge river give way? But if the Lord himself has manifested, what not will happen, right? So the same thing happened here, and finally Vasudeva was carrying the Lord, and Vasudeva, he entered Nandagopal's house. After even today, if you go to Yamuna and Gokula, you can see there is a river crossing, and if you go, the localites might tell you there that this is a pathway through which Vasudeva crossed over, and this is how he crossed over the Yamuna river from this part till the other, that is from Vrindavanam till Gokulam. This is how he went, or from Mathura to Gokul, whatever it is. From there, how they crossed, not Vrindavanam, Mathura, from Mathura till Gokul, how they went, that you can see till date what was the path of Vasudeva. Finally, Vasudeva, he entered Nandagopa's house, whose doors were also open. Now, why doors were open is it was those times wherein Gokula was so safe, just as the gates of Ayodhya were open. They were never locked. Similarly, in Gokula also, all the doors used to be open. That was a bond which people had. Today's times, we close the doors, still there are problems, right? Even in between rooms also, we cannot trust people. So this is how things have changed. And so Vasudeva finally entered Nandagopa's house. Prasupta Pashupalikam. Prasupta, everyone was fast asleep. Pashupalikam, meaning Pashunam Palayati, meaning those who used to take care of cows. That is, those Gopas, Gopikas, they were also fast asleep. And just Nivritamaru Dad Balikam, a small girl child was crying there. Goddess herself was crying. And that's when Vasudeva, what he did was he gently placed the Lord on the cot near Yashoda Devi, and he took the female, the so-called female, Bhavantam Kapata Kanyaka, very beautifully, Bhattatri, Kapata. Kapata meaning somewhat cunning, you can consider, or you can Maya. She's not a girl child actually, Yoga Maya herself, right? So Kapata Kanyaka is going to disappear now. So Vasudeva carried that child and in his hands and quickly proceeded. Swapuramagatam Vegataha. Quickly he came back to Mathura. So this Yogamaya avataram that is there was Kapatakanyakam. That is for a very small time. Just for Vasudeva to keep the Lord and bring back the girl child. That's it. So this is Yogamaya avataram. Finally, Vasudeva brings back the goddess. Then finally, Kshapita, sorry. Tatastwada Tatastwada Anuja meaning Devaki here. So while Kamsa heard his younger sister crying, why was she crying? There are many reasons for this. One is, anyone can tell why Devaki was crying here? No? Tatastwada Anuja. Correct. This was one thing. Now there are many reasons why Devaki was crying. Now there are many mothers here, and all these are in the Krishna Leela stories. All this is mentioned clearly. It seems that you have the something called the Prasava Vedana. Prasava Vedana, labor pains, right? So that is during labor. After labor also, for some time, the lady is always unconscious, right? In the case of Devaki, everything happened in the Karagraha, right? So the pain that was there, post delivery also you have the pain which was there, which Devaki could not bear, it seems. That was one reason. Of course, she had give. That's how every time what used to happen is the child used to cry. Every time a child is born, the first seven children, they used to cry, right? Seven children for six children. Seventh was transferred, right? Seventh, so they used to cry. Hearing that, Kamsa and all his attendants, they used to go. They used to inform Kamsa. Kamsa used to come. When the case of the eighth child is not there, right? But here Devaki is crying. Devaki is crying because now in the first six children also she used to cry, but the child is anyway crying. They used to hear the sound of the child and take the child away. But in this case, the child was not there. Only Devaki cries. Devaki cries due to her Vedana. That is there due to the labor pains, post-delivery pains that are there. Second is because this is the eighth child. Maybe after this children will be born or though they never know. And they had heard the Vakyam saying that this eighth child is going to be dangerous. Here what she feels is, though there is some voice which told that the eighth child will kill Kamsa, she feels it the other way around, that Kamsa will kill my eighth child, what I never knew, right? More than that, Vasudeva did not give her much time to hold Lord Krishna because he had to, just as Padmavati ji rightly said, she could not even see the child in her hand. He took her fast to Gokula. So this was the gati which she had, and that's the reason she starts crying. She could not control herself. She could not even say tolerate such pains that were there. So that's when finally when she starts crying, Kamsa hears a sound, and in fact he was not at all sleeping because now this is the eighth child, right? So he was waiting for the eighth child. When everyone Prasavavarta ya, and everyone listened to the delivery news, everything came in. Bhojaraja as Kamsa. He came there and Kamsa, he reached immediately this eighth child. What is this child going to do? And he was surprised, he was confused. Finally, now during this time, Vasudeva had already come and he was shocked to see a baby girl in Vasudeva's hands. He was wondering, will a girl child kill me? And seeing this, Kamsa was shocked. But still, certainly what happened is, but dear Kamsa was also very smart. Dhruvam Kapatashalinaha, verse number 4, Dashakam 39. Kapatashalinaha. Kamsa addresses Lord Vishnu as Kapatashalinaha, meaning this is nothing but the Maya of Vishnu only. Now, all Rakshasas, if you see Ravana, Kumbhakarna, uh, Kamsa, all of them have an enmity towards Vishnu. Towards Shiva and Brahma, they are good because they worship them, they get boons also. But in the case of Vishnu, they know that all this kapatam which does is done by Maya. That is Vishnu. So he says this is nothing but Madhuharasya Maya Bhavet. Madhuharaha, another word for Lord Vishnu, Maya. This is nothing but only the Maya of Vishnu. That's when he pulled the child from his sister who she had held close to her arms. At that time also Vasudeva and Devaki stopped saying that this is a girl child, kindly do not attack a girl child. Kamsa, that minute, what he does is he now already he had committed a sin. He had committed papa by holding Devaki by her hair. You should not, as we have already seen, touching a woman by her hair is something which is papa. Even in the Mahabharata also we know how Draupadi was done and Dushasana brought about his end. So similarly here also he had done. Here for the second time he touches the girl child. Girl child is none but Yogamaya himself. Now as per Dharma here, why it is said so is a man can touch a woman only if it is his own wife. His own wife, you can get into a relationship. With his daughter also, there is certain things which only to a certain level you behave, right? Beyond this, and to one's mother. So these are three categories that are there. To a mother and daughter, the way we touch or the way we behave is different, and with one's own wife, it is different. Beyond this, there should be no touching or so. Touching in a sense, when I say touching, means not pulling this, that, and such things should never be done by hair. things like that. This has been as per dharma. So for a woman also vice versa. So here what Kamsa did was Kamsa, and this was new. Why I am highlighting this is this was known by Ravana. That's the reason he does not end up touching Sita. And of course, he had got a curse that if you even go near her, you will be burned. So of course, there are different curses which Ravana had got. So that's the reason he was very cautious till the last minute. He was giving Sita to approach. Sita, he was convincing, he was telling her that you come, and so on. He was not approaching. Right? Of course, initially he had done, but later he realizes this. And but here in the case of Kamsa, he didn't understand all this, and that's the reason what he did was he ended up pulling the girl child. How he pulled the child from Devaki is a Dvipaf Nalini Kantarat. Dvipaha, elephant. Nalini, sorry, I said the other way around. Nalini is lotus, Dvipaha is elephant. Correct. So just as an elephant pulls a lotus, for an elephant pulling a lotus is so easy, right? It's just a small flower from the stalk. How an elephant pulls the lotus similarly comes up. He pulled the child from Devaki, and that's when he was about to dash the child on a stone. Upalapattake Pishtavan. Upalapattakam, there was a black stone there. He was about to dash, he almost dashed the girl child on that. At that time, what happened is Tataf Bhavadopasako. Here again, a very beautiful description wherein Yogamaya she freed herself from the hands of Krishna just as a devotee would free himself from death, it seems. That is Jhatiti Mrityupashativa. So immediately she came out of the clutches of Kamsa, and she didn't hit the earth. Now Kamsa was about to throw her on the black stone also, but then it did not happen. She went up in the sky and she assumed another form, Ashtabahu. Spuran Maha Vikasat Ashtabahu. She developed 8 arms. Spuran Maha Ayudam. She had a lot of arms, divine arms in all her hands. Aho Gata Kila Vihaya Sadityute, and in the sky she was shining. So the goddess Yogamaya, who was a small girl child, she assumed the form of this goddess having Ashtabahu, 8 arms with divine weapons. And she gave darshana to Vasudeva, Devaki, and Kamsa in the Karagraham only, Yogamaya Avataram. It is believed that even today, if you go to uh, Mathura to see this Karagraham, you have in the localite temples that are there, you have a temple for this. It is said outside the Karagraha that you have a temple for this goddess Yogamaya who had manifested there. Further, Drisham Satarakam Sate, Drisham Satar, the goddess, she calls out to Kamsa, she tells, what use? O cruel Kamsa, what is your gain? What will happen by killing me? Because Maya Vinishpishtaya, what will you get by killing me? Babu Baba Vadantaka, your killer who's there, Kwachana Chintya Tamte Hitam, Kwachana, somewhere else, he has already been born, so you don't have to worry. So, a very beautiful description wherein here Bhattatri highlights very nicely. He says how the goddess spoke to Kamsa. The goddess says, you'll not get anything by killing me because your killer has been or destroyer has been born somewhere else. So therefore, saying so, the goddess disappeared. The gods also praised her, and it seems that from here onwards, this Devi who was there, Bhuvicha Mandirane Yushi, she entered the temples on Bhulokam itself, and that's how she was worshipped. So that's why we have the goddess who is worshipped in many places. Like we have the village deities also. Each one of us, we have a Kula Devi. You have Kula Devata is one, Kula Devi. Why do we have this concept of Kula Devi? That is somewhat you can consider it has started from here. Of course, there were traditions before also. Nanda himself had a Kula Devi. But apart from that, worship of Kula Devi, one's own goddess, or worshipping the goddess is something which is very, very auspicious. In every family, it has to be done. It starts from here. Yogamaya, after giving a stern warning to Kamsa, she disappears. Where does she disappear? She disappears in the temples of Bharata, it seems, and that's how goddess is worshipped in Bharatadesha. So from here the tradition starts. Next, yeah, Sanjeev. Where Marudgana is Devas. Devas. Now next morning, what happens is Now with this, Dashakam 39 verse number 6, we saw what all happened. Now finally Krishna is born there. So now Kamsa knows where he is, and Kamsa finally gets to know also that what has happened. And so now he thinks, and now finally Kamsa, he calls three Pralamba Baka Putana. He calls Pralambasura Bakasura Putana. And he calls all of them, and he tells what Yogamaya had told him. Now, what is Yogamaya? Here you have Agatmaja, Prage Punar Agatmaja. Agatmaja. What is the meaning of Agatmaja? Anyone knows? No? Aga. Sorry? No. Atmaja. Atmaja meaning daughter, or Atmaja son. Yeah. Agat meaning for a mountain. Mountain is another word. So Agatmaja, daughter of the mountain, is nothing but Parvati Devi. So here it refers to Yogamaya. So here, Prage Punar Agatmaja Vachanam Irita. So whatever was told by Agatmaja, that is the daughter of the mountain Parvati, that Kamsa told these Asuras, Pralambasura, Bakasura and Putana. And they then what they did now, they didn't know where the Lord was born. So it seems that they roamed roamed in Mathura, Vrindavanam, Gokulam, all the nearby areas, killing children mercilessly. So whoever came, all children, small children were bought, they were killed. And Kimiva Dushkaram Nishkrepaihi. Kimiva Dushkaram Nishkrepaihi. Bhattatri says, Dushkaram, that is evil people or merciless people, what not they can do. They can go to the extent of doing anything. Now, very simple example, how much ever we don't like a person or so, we might have whatever enmity we have, still we will not go and attack or tell their children something, right? So, how much ever, even if you don't like a person, still small children also, we don't tell them anything in general. But here, these asuras were there, they ended up killing children fearlessly in all the nearby areas. That's where Bhattatri, he feels very bad. He says, Kimiva dushkaram nishkripaihi. What not these evil people can do. Even Naraka cannot keep them. Nataf Pashupa Mandire. Now finally what happens is, the Lord who was sleeping near Yashoda Devi slowly started kicking his legs. Kinchitanchatpade, small legs that were there, he started kicking them. Shaye Rudati, started crying little. And that's how just small children, when they are born, how they cry and how they move about. All these things the Lord also started doing. Finally, all the women who were there nearby, they also woke up from sleep. And Tanaya Sambhave Ghoshite, they announced the birth of a boy child. And everyone was overjoyed. Sakalam Akulam Gokulam, entire Gokulam was full of joy. It was brimming with joy. People did not know how to react. They celebrated wherever they went. They all told that a boy child had been born in male child had been born in the house of Yashoda. Now, Ahokala Yashodaya Navakalaya Cheto Haram. Yashoda Devi, she was still in sleep also. That's when she was woken up and she could not see. She could not believe her eyes when she saw the beautiful form of the Lord, which was fresh like Kalaya flower. Kalaya is the name of a flower, a very fresh flower, or a very, you can say, smooth flower. That is there. Looking at that, so the child was like that, fresh as a flower, and it seems that that's how Yashoda Devi felt very happy. She took Krishna near her and fed him milk. And that's how she was. She took care of her. Stanabaram nijam sapadi payayantya payayantya. She fed him milk. And manohara tanusprisha. The small, soft body of the child was caressed. You can say Yashoda took the child near and was touching the body of the child. She could not believe that the child had been born after 60 years or so. And that too, the Lord looked very, I'd say, so soft like the flower. So she took the child near her and she started caressing the child. That's when Nanda Gopa was a bit outside. Now in those times, whenever this prasanam used to take place, all the ladies used to be there in one chamber and the gents used to be in another. So Nanda Gopa was outside. He also comes running inside, and that's when what he saw was Bhavat Kushala Kamyaya Sakhalu Nanda Gopaftada. He was also overjoyed to see the Lord. And Vijakulaya Kimnadadat. Vijakulaya, to the Brahmins also, priests, he invited them and he gave them a lot of gifts. Godanam, Suvaranadanam, money, everything was done, lot of auspicious rites. different karmas which had to be done. All that was done by the Gopas. It seems that not only Nanda Gopa, even the other people of Gokula, just as if a child is born in our house, how we do, similarly, all the people of Gokulam also did the various rites, it seems, for the Lord. And thus, what happens is, finally, Bhattatri concludes, Jagatrata Yamangala. Thus, by taking this Krishna Avataram, you have been born now to take care of the entire world, to free the world from demons like Kamsa. Now, finally, Ihapahi Mama Mayat. Please save me from my ailments also. So, with this, Dashakam 39 comes to an end. Yeah, okay. We'll stop here for. Okay. So Dashakam 40 onwards now Krishna is born. So we talk about the childhood stories of Krishna. Tadanunanda mamanda shubhaspadam. Now later what happens is after Krishna is brought to Gokulam by Vasudeva, then further Nanda. Tadanunandam amanda shubhaspadam. Nripapurim, he goes to the king's land, that is Nanda goes to Mathura, that is to Kamsa, to Karadana. Karadana meaning to pay his taxes. Now in those times also, though Mathura, Nanda was living in Gokula, there was a system of paying taxes to the king, which the village head, who was Nanda, he used to go to the kingdom frequently. They had a time period or so, and there Nanda used to go and he used to pay the taxes which were there. And so like this, Nanda further goes one day and he meets Vasudeva also. So Jagada Bhavat Pita, that is your father. Here Bhattatri writes, he says, O Lord, Nanda met your original father Vasudeva, and who knew about all the activities of Kamsa, what Kamsa was planning and so on. And Vasudeva, it seems at this time, he told Nanda that Kamsa is planning all such things. So therefore I've kept the child with you. Because on that day, initially on the first day after the Lord was born, Nanda and Vasudeva, they could not speak, right? Vasudeva just keeps the child and he comes back. So now Vasudeva, when they meet each other, well, Nanda goes to the Karagraham, he goes to the jail, he meets Vasudeva and Devaki. That's when Vasudeva clearly tells that Kamsa has all these plans, you keep the child safe with you. So that's when. And now, very nicely, here what happened is, Aisa Kheta Vabalaka Janmama. But here, Vasudeva and Nanda, they were very happy. Vasudeva does not highlight. Now, this is a very, very great quality of a parent or father, whatever you call. Immediately, Vasudeva realizes that if so much I am telling, Nanda should not feel that the child is not its own. Because the minute you start feeling the child is not your own, Vasudeva fears that maybe Nanda might develop less feelings also. So he says that I Sakhe, he says, Vasudeva, he tells Nanda that a child is born to you, a son is born to you, and I'm so happy as if a son is born to me only. So therefore, here now Nanda doesn't know all the story as such. He just tells that Nanda doesn't know all the story, that Vasudeva has kept his child, it's not my child, and so on. All the story Nanda, Yashoda don't know. Yashoda quite later she comes to know. Nanda also gets to know that later. And Vasudeva also does not wish to tell this, because the minute, now, Nanda might be a very good person, but the minute someone tells us something, it's human nature, right? Our mind changes. So here, Vasudeva purposely does not highlight. He says that just as a son is born to you after so many years, I'm very happy as if a son is born to me only. So all the rights, all the credits of becoming a father, Vasudeva totally gives that to Nanda. Again, this needs a very, you can say, huge mind, right? My child is there, I give it away to someone, something as if Atmajaha. Why do we even use this word Atmajaha? Meaning my own Atma I'm separating from my body. And in the case of a father, especially, of course, though the mother carries the child for 9 to 12 months, whatever is the period, a father is responsible for the same. A part of the father is present in the child. So here Vasudeva tells the same thing. Further, Ihacha Santya Nimitta Shatani Te. He says, Vasudeva tells Nanda, you please go back soon because there are a lot of Animitta Shatani, hundreds of Animitta, bad omens which are coming here, and you should return soon. Kamsa has many plans he is making, so therefore you please return back soon because there are a lot of dangers for the child. And Nanda quickly goes back. Avasare khalu tatra chakachana Putana Moksha. At this time, what happened is while Nanda was returning back from Mathura, some it seems that there were lot of a beautiful looking woman. She was none but Putana herself. She, in the guise of a woman, she comes and she approaches the kapata pota kate nikatam gata. Very, you can say, kapata in disguise. She goes near the child in order to, as if she goes, and now in those times in village system also, you have many people continuously coming and flocking. So apart from Yashoda also, there were many women who were around Krishna, many village gopikas also, they used to come, they used to spend time with the child. So like this, maybe they felt, oh, Putana is also one lady, she also wants to maybe play with the child, carries it and so on. So that's how the child, she also comes nearby. At that time, Sapati sa, very quickly, verse number 5. Hrita balaka chetana. Putana, what she come? Now, Putana was known for killing children, taking the lives of children. So she lifted the child up, and all Vrajavadhushu, all the women in Braja, they were wondering, who is this woman? She is someone who is new. We have not seen her before also. And they were all saying, who is this woman? While they were all wondering about this, Putana lifted you up. And now what happens is, now she just, in the previous verse we saw, she was dressed like a very beautiful woman. So the other woman also, they were also enchanted by her. They said, oh, maybe there's someone else coming from a nearby village also just to meet the Lord and things like that. And nobody stopped her. And now what she did was, this Putana, she took the child, she lifted baby Krishna, she kept it with her, and it seems that as if she was milking the child, Pradadushi bhavate kapatatmane, she kept the child near her chest. And that's when you finally, the Lord, Samadhiruhya, you also took this, O Lord, Bhattatri says, you took this as a very good opportunity. And while you were sucking milk, in while you were about to do that, you sucked all the poison which was there. Now it seems that while this was the main work of Putana. She used to go, she used to change her disguise, meet children also, and as if she is giving milk also, she used to take the child and she used to have poison, it seems. And that's when the poison the child drinks, the child used to die. So the same thing here she tries to do with the Lord. And durvisha dushitam, poison, there was poison. And while the Lord was sucking the poison out, it seems that he sucked her life also out. Asubireva, with all his life, the small child who was there a few days born, while he was sucking, dayati twaistanam asaustanita upaniswana, her entire life, asubhi eva samam, meaning her entire life also was sucked out by the Lord. And Putana, she fell down. Nirapatat, she fell down with a huge thunder, and she got back her natural demoness form. She lost the form of the beautiful woman. And the whole of Gokul was afraid, hearing this sound. And what happened? All the gopis also were afraid. They immediately go and they pick up the child because they see such a huge monster here. And the child was Tata Udarasthala Kelanam. The child, Krishna, was playing on the body of Putana. Immediately the Gopikas go and rescue the child. Bhuvana Mangala Nama Birevate. Here Bhattatri finally concludes. This is how. Bhuvana Mangala, you offer Mangalam or auspiciousness to the entire world, and you protected the entire world through such different leelas also, by killing Putana and so on. And the young woman there, the young Gopikas who were there, Yuvate Bhiv Bahuda Kritarakshanaha, they protected you in various ways. How did they do that? How they got the ability to do, the various Gopikas? By merely chanting your names. Similarly, me also, kindly, I am also chanting your names, I am singing your stories through the first 40 Dashakams that are there. Kindly make me free. Mama Vataniketana Mam Agadayan Kurutavaka Sevakam. I am also your Sevaka, I am also your devotee. Kindly free me from all my ailments. So this was the prayer of Bhattatri. Next, Dashakam. Now this is continuation, Dashakam 41. Brajeshwara Shauri. Now here finally Nanda, he comes to know of this incident. And when now he was still on the way from Mathura, after listening to whatever Vasudeva has said, he was returning back from Mathura, and that's when he heard that something of this sort has happened. Maybe Putana has come, and while he returns back, he sees a huge form of Putana fallen down, and while the Rakshasi had fallen, a very huge body had fallen, and it was like as if half Gokula was already covered, all the trees and everything was crushed nearby. And he prayed to the Lord, it seems. Niriksha kinchit padartham sharanam gatastvam. Started praying to the Lord. And all the Gopas is a male community, they got to know from the Gopikas what had happened, the entire incident of Putana. And this was the first time wherein Demoness had come to attack Krishna, had come to even attack the village, because nothing of this sort had happened before. Everyone was surprised, and Bhaya Vismaya Andhaha. They were all wonderstruck. The fear started developing in their minds, and that's when what happened is they all proceeded to cut the body of Putana with axes also, and they all burnt it at a distance. Now, the chest part, Twatpita Putasthanatacharirat, the chest or the breast part of Putana became pure, it seems. How it became? Because that's how the name of the Dashakam is called Putana Mokshaha, right? So they were made pure because the Lord himself had sucked them, right? So therefore, when the body of Putana was being burned, it seems that fragrance started coming in, and that's when the people who were standing nearby, they were all wondering what it is. Gaul Gulava, sorry, Kimesha Kim Chan Shanka Madada Shanka, they were becoming doubtful. Shanka Madada Garava Kimesha Kim Chandano Gaul Gulavo Thaviti. Now, sandalwood or Gulgulu is the name of a substance which is smelling. We make all these perfumes also, right? So in that natural things, if we use, there are certain smell, like for example sandalwood powder, or it's like this. If you see, there are certain plants. Sorry, correct, the same thing. So such fragrant substances are used for performing, you can say, for perfume purposes and so on. So like this smell started coming, and people are wondering what is this smell? Is it of sandalwood? Is it of some other fragrant substance? What exactly it is? And that's when here, now why this incident happened, verse number 4, Dashakam 41. Madanga Sangasya Phalam Nadure. Bhattatri says that this is a sign of the Lord to send a message to the Gopas, to the cowherds who are there, to the Gopalas, that if you are in contact with me, if I am in and around you, then just as I've showered my blessings on Putana by giving her moksha, similarly, all of you also, whenever you are around me or chanting my names or doing my worship also, I will also definitely bless you. And through the people of Gopikas, it's a message to all of us also. So he said that just being in contact with not only my body but also my mind. Now here the Lord tries to say a very very important lesson, that now here what we know is, as per in the rules of Kali Yuga, Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam, last shloka Srimad Bhagavatam says, merely chant my names, I'll give you moksha. Here Krishna highlights one more thing, that merely being in contact with my body, just as Putana was an evil lady, but because she lifted the Lord, she wanted to give milk to the Lord, her breasts were touched by the mouth of the Lord, right? So that's when he says that by mere contact, because I merely touched the body of Putana, she got moksha. So by merely being in contact with me, be it physically or simply by chanting my names also, I will definitely give you moksha. And this was a proof for this to the people of Praja, it seems. A very beautiful shloka by Bhattatri. And now all the people now are wondering. Chitram Pishachya Nahataf Kumaraha, verse 5. They said they were wondering, how come this small boy was not killed by such a great demoness who was there, so wild, so terrible to look at? And Vasudeva also had, they were all thinking, Akhate Shaurina Idam. Shauri is none but Vasudeva, another name for Vasudeva. So Vasudeva had told many things to Nanda, that this child is like this, that. So they were all wondering how come it is happening, and they didn't know how to react. They just Bhavat Mukha Lokarase Nyamangshi. They just simply kept looking at the face of the child, and that's how they became happy. Now, day by day, what happened is, Dine Dine Prativriddha Dine Dine Ta Prativriddha Lakshmi. Prosperity started developing in Gokula by the living of the Lord there, and it seems that everything around was just happy and gunam, all virtues around, nothing was negative here. And it seems that in Griheshu te Komalarupaha, all the Gopikas also were very happy. They kept on talking about Krishna, how he smiles, how he walks, how he is so charming, how he is so handsome. So just they kept on talking about the form of the Lord. And it seems that having completed all their work, vritteshu krityeshu, having completed their daily work, also household work, bhavat niriksha samagataha, they all used to assemble together in the house of Nanda in order to pratyahan atinandan Atihanandan to see the child, and they all used to be very happy. So, in great joy, after finishing all their work, they had their everyday activity of coming and seeing Krishna. So, this was their only work which they used to do, and this made them happy. This is nothing but sheer mere love to the Lord that is there. They didn't have to go out of the way to do anything. They kept doing their simple things that were there, and that's how they showered their love to the Lord. And it seems that verse number 8, Aho Kumaro Mai Datta Drishtihi. And it seems that all these Gopikas were there. Bhattatri very beautifully says, Aho Kumaro Mai Datta Drishtihi. Meaning, one Gopika is to say, oh, see, this boy is looking at me. Another Gopika is telling that, no, he's looking at you, but he's smiling at me. Third one used to stretch her hands and say, come, come, come to me. And this is how they started showering their love. And they used to have like a healthy, you can say, not a fight as such, but healthy argument. See, he's looking at me. Someone used to say, no, he's smiling at me. Third person used to say, see, I'm lifting him up. A fourth person used to say, see, I have stretched you have stretched your hands, still he is not coming to you, he is coming to me. So like this, the Lord through his leelas, he made the Gopikas also very happy. And it seems that the Lord, what used to happen is, he used to go to every Gopika. Now, small children, if you see, at times they'll not go to outsiders or people who they see for the first time, like some children. But here, the Lord, every day he had a, you can say, a schedule or so, wherein he used to get past Bhavat Vapos Parshana Kautukena Karat Karam, verse number 9. Karat Karam meaning from hand to hand. The Lord used to be passed from hand to hand, it seems. That is, each of the Gopikas was very much eager to touch the body of the Lord to lift him up. So, one by one, if there are 100 Gopikas, it was like a how the game that you call it, passing the parcel. You keep on passing it. Like this, each Gopika is to pass the Lord, it seems. Keep him near him, shower their love, then pass it on to the next. And as they were doing this, it seems as if the Lord, now all the Gopikas, they were well dressed. So they look like a mala, a garland, it seems. Atamra Saroja mala, a red lotus mala. And the Lord was like a honeybee. How a bee moves from one flower to another. Like that, the Lord, like a honeybee, was moving around these flowers who were none but Gopikas. Such a beautiful comparison. Finally, Nipayayanti Stanamanka Ta. Finally, about Yashoda. And all this made Yashoda very, very happy. Nipayanti Stanamanka Tvam. Finally, she used to take the Lord in her lap and give him milk. And it seems that now, whenever, usually, if you see, whenever children drink milk or so, their eyes will always be closed most of the times. At times, the child keeps the eyes open. But still, if you see, even if the child keeps his eyes open, the mother ensures that the child goes to sleep. Right? Or maybe mothers here, you can relate more. But here, what happens is, the child here, child Krishna, used to always keep his face smiling, it seems. Right? So, Hasanti, Vilokayanti, Vadanam Hasanti. And Yashoda also used to always keep looking at the child. Though she was sucking milk or so, she was giving milk to the child and the child was sucking. Krishna used to always give a smile, and Yashoda also used to look back and smile, it seems. Always, whenever the child used to drink milk. And that's how Bhattatri finally concludes, this was how things were happy in Gokula, how people were celebrating your birth, how the Gopikas were happy, how the Gopas were happy, how Nanda was celebrating, how Yashoda was happy. Oh, finally, oh, Satadrisha Pahi Hare Gadan me. Finally, Bhattatri comes to his problem. He says, all this is happening, I am so happy, but what about me? Oh, Lord Hari, you are doing all this. You please save me from my ailments. I'm singing your stories. I'm very much happy by your leelas. I'm singing their glories so that people later will also enjoy. But what about me? Please free me from my ailments. Okay, so with this, Dashakam 41 comes to an end.